Hello, Wansi. You can just call me Vold, short for Voldemort. I never actually thought I would have a story to send you. This happened not long ago at my school, and it's one of the weirdest things that's ever happened to me. Me and 5 of my friends were skipping part of the lesson because we couldn't be bothered staying in class. And we went near the back of the school field, where there are bushes and trees near this fence. People go there sometimes because teachers barely check it, and it's quiet there. We were just talking normally and messing around when one of my friends suddenly stopped walking and looked ahead. I thought he was joking at first, but then I saw it too. There was this homeless guy sitting by the bushes with bags all around him and random rubbish on the ground. He looked rough as hell, like dirty ripped clothes, a huge beard, dirty yellow teeth, and he smelled bad, even from kind of far away. At first, he didn't notice us. He was just muttering to himself while looking through one of his bags. Then he looked up at us and started smiling. But it didn't even look normal because his teeth were so dirty and messed up. One of my friends laughed awkwardly and said, "Let's just go." But before we even moved properly, the homeless guy stood up and picked up this axe that was sitting next to him on the ground. The axe looked horrible, rusty and dirty, with marks all over the blade and bits of dirt stuck to it. The guy wasn't even holding it normally either. He was kind of dragging it while walking toward us slowly. He kept mumbling stuff under his breath, and we couldn't fully hear him, but it sounded creepy as hell. I remember one of my friends saying, "Why does he even have that?" And that's when the homeless guy suddenly shouted something at us. I couldn't even make out what he said, but it made all of us panic instantly, and we just started running back toward the school. I looked back once while running, and he was still there near the bushes, staring at us with the axe hanging down by his side. When we got back inside, we told the teachers there was a homeless guy outside with an axe. At first, they thought we were exaggerating, until one teacher went outside to check. After that, the police arrived very quickly, and everyone at school started talking about it. Apparently, the guy had been staying near the field for a few days, and nobody realized. The creepiest part for me is still the way he smiled at us, because he looked completely normal at first, until he stood up with the axe. I don't have a picture of the exact location, but I can tell you roughly where this happened. I took this from my school site. I lived at my grandparents' house with my younger brother. Let's call him Odie. It was New Year's Eve 12 years ago, and truly the best festive atmosphere. The yard was filled with the aroma of grilled pork belly, the sound of uncles laughing between sips of beer, and the ceaseless popping of firecrackers in the street. My brother and I ran around with our cousins, ate sweet spaghetti, and had a blast playing with the plastic horns we'd been blowing all night long. Around 11:30 p.m., my aunt called the children into the living room and told them to open their presents. The living room was packed with people and bustling, with wrapping paper flying everywhere. Amidst the excitement, I realized my brother was no longer by my side. Thinking Odie had gone to the kitchen to get more soda, I left the noisy living room and set out to look for him. As soon as I entered the back hallway, party noise seemed to suddenly fade into the distance. The kitchen was empty, and the back door leading to my cousin's dark, weed-covered backyard was wide open. "Odie!" I called out to Odie by her nickname. I stepped out to the front door. Red and green fireworks twinkled in the distance, casting long, irregular shadows across the lawn. Then I saw Odie. My younger brother was standing near the boundary where the house lights ended and the tall weeds began. Odie was holding a wrapped gift box and looking up at the tall mango tree. "Odie, come inside. It's almost midnight," I shouted as I stepped down onto the lawn. Odie didn't turn around, but pointed to a dark branch of the tree. "Kuya, look. A tall man gave me a toy." My mind went blank. I looked up. A man was crouching on a thick tree branch, completely hidden by leaves, barely visible only when the fireworks exploded. He was astonishingly thin, his skin pale, and he wore a dirty, tattered shirt. with a wide grin, a smile that revealed his teeth. He looked straight down at my younger brother. A huge firework exploded overhead, suddenly painting the yard in an intense red. The man slowly brought his long, bony fingers to his lips, signaling for silence. In his other hand, he held a heavy, rusty garden knife perched on the branch. Before I could even scream, the midnight countdown rang out inside the house. 10, 9, 8. Then the man suddenly fell from the branch and landed silently on the lawn right in front of my brother. Outside, the countdown instantly turned into screams. 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year. And the ear-splitting sound of fireworks shook the ground. Amid the deafening explosion, the man rushed forward and grabbed my brother's arm. Instinctively, I didn't run inside the house. Instead, I screamed with all my might. I ran across the wet lawn and threw a plastic party horn at the man's face. The horn hit him squarely in the eye. He hissed, briefly let go of my brother, and clutched his face. I gripped Odie's hand tightly and ran with all my might toward the bright, safe light of the kitchen veranda. We hurriedly rushed inside, slammed the heavy wooden door shut, and locked it. Just then, a loud thud echoed from outside the door. I ran into the living room and, crying, dragged Odie into the crowd of relatives. "There's a man in the yard. He tried to take Odie away," I shouted over the loud music. The festive atmosphere vanished in an instant. Uncles ran out to the backyard with flashlights and heavy sticks, and aunts locked all the windows. However, while they were scouring the area around the tall weeds and mango trees, the man was gone. All that remained was the gift box he had given to my younger brother. Grandfather carefully unwrapped the package, only to find no toys inside. There were only a few rusty, sharp nails and a handful of dirt from a freshly dug grave. 11 years have passed since that night in 2015, but my brother and I have never forgotten it. Every year on New Year's Eve, while everyone else admires the beautiful fireworks illuminating the sky, my brother and I stay inside, our eyes fixed on the dark windows. This is because we know how easily a monster can hide amidst the noise. Hi, my name is Al. This story took place back in 2013 when I was 15 years old and visiting my grandparents' house. Every summer, my dad's whole family would gather there, so I didn't always get to see my cousins, aunts, and uncles. Their house was about a 3-hour drive from ours and had 3 floors. The first floor was mostly for storage, filled with sacks of rice. It had a staircase leading to the second floor, where the kitchen, bedrooms, and living room were. From there, another staircase went up to the third floor, which always gave me an unsettling feeling. The house was clean and well kept, but the atmosphere felt strange in a way I couldn't explain. The third floor especially creeped me out. It was dusty, cluttered with boxes, and looked more like an unfinished rooftop space. Oddly enough, there were always 2 small beds up there, even though no one used them. One night around 2 a.m., I woke up thirsty and decided to get some water. Before I stood up, I glanced at my family. Some were in bed, others sleeping on the floor. Just as I was about to open the door, I heard a telephone ringing from outside. It continued ringing even as I stepped out of the room. The phone was near the living room TV, and when I got closer, I realized it wasn't even plugged in. It had been broken for a while. I remembered my grandparents had unplugged it for that reason. I was already unnerved, but I continued to the kitchen for water. After drinking, I turned around, and that's when I saw her, a woman in white, hair covering her face, floating. I froze as she silently moved from the second floor to the third. Her movement was both fast and slow, as if time were warped. When she vanished, I bolted back to the room. Shaken and unsure whether to cry or wake my mom, I eventually just forced myself to sleep. The next morning, I told my aunt what happened, and her reply shocked me. She said they used to see the same figure when they lived in the house. Though it still scared them, they had learned to live with it. To this day, I don't know exactly what I saw, and after that experience, I have never returned to my grandparents' house.